It's the Old Man Ranting from the Kitchen live podcast. Good evening, everyone. It's the Old Man, not ranting in the kitchen, just ranting. And it's a great pleasure to be with you. Yes, I've been ranting out of the kitchen on Facebook for some time now, and people keep asking me different questions about, first of all, why are you ranting out of the kitchen? Well, I got that title simply because my son used to sit down, watch a little television. I'm in the kitchen doing some work, and I'm ranting and raving about the wonderful things that are happening in Olympia, the world's largest daycare center, and how it's affecting everybody. And so he said, "But Dad, you're ranting." And I said, "Yeah, I'm ranting." "Well, you're an old man, you're ranting." So I said, "Okay, I'm in the kitchen." That, folks, is the way we started that show. I took it from there, stuck it on Facebook. I did, 30, 40 shows, something like that. Lost track. Had to fight constantly with Facebook over, everything. I mean, everything on the electronic end of it. Just never seemed to work right. So I thought, I've had enough, and there were so many good people. I really appreciate them, and I'm hoping to get back with them after the first of the year, and we're going to try a little bit different approach from the kitchen. Well, while I was discussing this, we had some great guests stop in at the studio, and it was the gentleman who is the LUDAC, which is the League of Latino American Citizens, and he is Washington State's head man, and I was surprised, and he brought with him some other dignitaries from LUDAC to talk about podcasting. So we started talking about podcasting and the way to work the different equipment, what kind of equipment they might need. And the two ladies that came that are in charge of their studio now in Washington were delightful to talk to. And it was really a wonderful hour. And we'll have a cut of that on Keep Alive. That's our other podcast that we do on the Disruptors Podcast Network. And I thought, well, great. Well, one of the gentlemen, Abe Cortez, has been with us before, about a year and a half ago. Abe did the Powerhouse Entertainment podcast, which was basically interviews with businessmen and people in the Tacoma, Seattle area that are Latinos, that are very proud of their heritage and very proud to be American citizens. And it was a great show. And we're bringing it back this year. It's going to be exciting. You never can tell what's going to happen on the Old Man Ranting from the Kitchen or what's going to happen on the Disruptors podcast. But I'll guarantee you this year is going to be a year to remember, sort of, if I can remember where and who I am by this time next year. He brought up the idea. He said, "You got a lot of stories, and you rant and rave about the rental industry because you're a podcaster and also are you ready for this? Property manager in an apartment complex." Now, folks, I want you to know that before I started that job, I had a pretty good sense of meaning. I had self-esteem. I had the ability to think and to really reason out when people made such unsensible, ununderstandable, stupid statements concerning the very elementary factor of why should I pay my rent? Or the contract didn't say that. So I decided, this show will be number one on my life as the Old Man Ranting from the Kitchen, property management. Yes. This story is going to begin with just recently when we had an opportunity. A great couple had moved out of the complex. Very nice people. And we had gone through and renovated their unit, got it ready to put it back on the market. Now, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, folks. I mean, there's a lot of stuff when you're a property manager that you have to understand. Of course, I didn't get any education on that when they put me into this position. All they asked was, if we call, could you handle something and we'll pay X number of dollars per call. Boy, did I think that was a great move. Of course, my son, who was standing in the kitchen and I was at the back door, and the gentleman who was making me this offer couldn't see my son behind the door. as he's standing there going and giving me hand signals. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to regret it. And I'm ignoring him because I like to agitate him. So I naturally said, of course, I'm your man. And that was the beginning of the end. Well, it turns out that property management was a little bit more, shall we say, involved than I had anticipated. I thought, well, somebody calls up, then if I can figure out how to get it done for him, or, send the call to I would, and that's where it all began. Yeah. Because you see, I discovered that there was nobody to call at times. And I also discovered that I didn't have the foggiest idea what I was doing. So I started learning stuff. I was really impressed with myself at first. But then the ugliness started. When the little animals crawl out of the cages. When the tenants get upset. Well, it got to the point where I nicknamed this wonderful complex I'm at the zoo. And instead of bringing up people's names so that I couldn't get, pounded on or whatever when I got upset, ranting and raving, I would give them animals. In other words, one problem that we had was a gentleman that I called a gorilla. The gorilla is over at the baboon's house and things aren't going well. That was the code for, oh, gee, here we go again. Well, I thought with the change of weather and the seasons and everything had changed. And Christmas is going to be exciting. Yeah, it's as exciting as going to the dentist and having the dentist look at you and say, well, I went to medical school for 6 weeks now. I think we use Novocaine first, don't we? And he takes out a great big huge plate. No, it's that exciting, really. I thought everything's fine. Everything's going to be great. I'll handle everything. Well, apartment comes up for rent. The crew goes in. The apartment's all refurbished, ready. I got on the computer. I was so excited with myself, really. I wrote the ad and put it up with a big picture I took and everything. And first thing that happens right off the get-go is one of my wonderful people, tenants here, who looked at the ad and said, oh, my God, that's horrible. You got to open up. That ad's awful. And I thought, well, that's nice. It's only been out there for 20 minutes. So, okay, come in, pulled up a chair. The person sits down, looks at the ad. Notice I said the word person because I don't want to get any pronouns or nouns confused. Looks at the ad. Oh, no, this is wrong. This is wrong. That's wrong. Rewrites it. Wonderful. I said, okay, whatever. Have a good evening. Open the door and pretty well shoved the person out. Now, that's kind of the friendly way to handle things, of course. You want the community to really respect and enjoy and become part of what you're doing. That's the wrong advice, by the way. Don't follow that advice. So, okay, cool. First people come to look at the apartment. They read the ad. Oh, they're excited. Here comes this car that's blowing a little smoke out the back. Nothing bad. Well, wait a minute. Come to think about it, the other guy that was 20 feet behind him walking to the mailbox disappeared. So maybe the smoke was a little much. So he drives up and he says, howdy, I'm looking for the manager. And I said, well, I'm the property manager. How can I help you? Oh, good. I read your ad there. There's quite an ad there, and we're looking for a place to live. We're coming from out of state, and we're really great to be here. And I said, oh, okay. And I looked down at the plate just casually at the car and noticed it's a Washington State plate. But yet he came from out of state. That turns on a property manager's first number one red flag. But oh wait, folks, it gets worse. As he rolls down the window even further, the wonderful smell of marijuana about knocks me onto the driveway unconscious. Okay. I knew right then flag number 2 was flying very high up on the flag post. I started a great conversation with him, asked him, where'd you come from? Oh, I just come from the other side there, the other side of the state over there, and was living out in a farm. I said, oh, okay, great. Okay. Well, let me give you some facts on the apartment. Oh, I really appreciate. Could you hold on just a minute here? Just sit there for a second there and I got it. And I look in the back seat, and what I saw was incredible. In a cage, kind of a home-built cage, something that Frankenstein would put together, is this chicken, folks. A chicken. Not a chicken ready for chicken dinner, but a live chicken with feathers and a beak and a nasty personality, by the way. Oh, here you go, Roger. And I said, are you you took care of animals on the farm? I sure did, but Roger didn't get along with the farmer, so he gave them to me. And I'm a Vietnam vet. And I said, oh, okay. Well, thank you for your service to the country. Now, what might we be doing with the chicken? I'm just kind of curious. Oh, that's my stress chicken. I said, excuse me? That's my stress chicken? I said, okay, stress chicken. Okay. Could you are talking about an ESA animal, I would think, right? Is that correct? What's that? That's an animal that the doctor says helps you with your stress. No, that's a chicken. It lays eggs, if you get it near a rooster. Okay, that was flag number 3, because I knew right now we are not going to communicate well over the chicken. As I glance across the seat, here is this lovely lady. Now, I'd like to take a moment of this podcast to describe the lovely lady. She was about 5'12" or something. I don't know. Isn't that 6 feet? Could be. She looked like a type of a lady that would, in her overalls, by the way, one strap busted. She looked like the type of lady, I'm surprised there wasn't any, the pocket straw, that works out in the farm and understands farm animals and farm life. And I said, hi, how are you? And she smiled. Didn't have any front teeth. But anyway, we don't judge people on that. We talk to them, make sure they have an income. And then I explain to them they have to do a background check. What's the background check? Is that something from the bank you got to write? No. And then I explained to them what a background check was. So we got that part pretty well down pat, knowing that flag number 4 coming up, he hasn't got a job. And they said, well, you have to pay rent. Oh, yeah, the church is sponsoring us, I said, oh, okay. Well, then I need the paperwork from the church and how much and how we're going to work this out. And I must give this to the landlord because he makes the final decision. Now, flag number 5 is right around the corner. Oh, okay. I got to get out of the car for just a minute. Do you mind stepping back, sir? I got to get out of the car. The chicken's getting restless. Opens the car door, and a bottle of, I don't know what it was, falls out onto the ground. Oh, excuse me, let me pick that up for you. Yeah, it's just a bottle, And I thought, well, that's wonderful. Do you have any children, by the way? Oh, no children. I can't have children. I'm baiting out bats, Got a chicken for relief and tension. Oh, okay, chicken. Okay, well, the chicken has to go through an ESA process because we do not have pets here unless they are registered stress animals under the, Landlord-Tenant Act and all state regulations concerning pets that are stress pets. What's that again? I said stress pets. No stress pets without paperwork from your doctor can we do. But I'll certainly mention it to the landlord about this wonderful conversation. Well, I really appreciate that. I really do. How many bedrooms you got here? I said, the ad has 2, sir. 2? Oh, we got a problem there. I said, we have a problem there? Well, yeah, Mrs. and I, we don't sleep in the same room. Oh, okay, that's okay. There's 2 bedrooms, so that shouldn't be a problem, right, if you were accepted? Because you got to go through the background check to be accepted before we go much further with this conversation. He says, now, wait a minute here. The chicken would have 1 room. Oh, gee, yeah, you're right. We need a 3-bedroom. I don't know how to do. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, while you're out looking for somebody, maybe further down the hill or over towards Frederickson area here in South Hill, a beautiful Puyallup, maybe you'll find that 3-bedroom home so that you and the chicken can have the space you need. Well, I certainly thank you for explaining all that to me. Now, I just got one other question. I said, sure. Do you mind if we just park here? I got a tarp and sleeping bag, and a chicken will stay in the back seat. We just need someplace to park because we were kind of out in the street there for a couple of weeks. We had to move on because of the chicken. I said, no, I would think that the landlord would appreciate you, as you are not a tenant, nor do you know anybody here. No, I don't think that'd work out. Okay, well, thank you anyway. Remember, I'm a Vietnam vet. I said, thank you again for your service. Say goodbye to Roger and have a great day. And I'll talk hopefully soon after, and I gave him the paper for the background check. You get these background check information taken care of. Have a nice day. Now, this guy drives off, and he's gone down the street somewhere. And I noticed the next day, he's about 2 miles down the street on the side of the road, parked there, and a tarp over the car so I can sleep, And I thought, boy, that was luck. 5 stars, 5 red stars up. And by golly, those flags, they were up there with the red stars. And the beautiful, boy, was I lucky to wrap that one up. Can you imagine what a chicken could do in an apartment? Do you have any idea the mess that a chicken could do faster probably than the damage of a dog? I know it's hard to believe, folks. And I know this chicken who lays eggs when they, find a rooster to say howdy to, this could be a real political problem. Now, I don't know. I don't hate animals. To me, a chicken is great in a chicken sandwich. Chicken McNuggets is wonderful. And a roasted chicken, oof. But as far as the stress pet's concerned, no. I decided when I wrote the policy, and I had to write my own policy manual, by the way, living in this apartment complex, because nobody's ever heard of somebody showing up with a chicken to rent an apartment. Well, folks, that's just part one of the story of what a real true apartment property manager goes through. And I got a couple of other good stories that we'll use in the next podcast coming up. But believe me, folks, if you ever think for a moment that running an apartment house is as easy as walking across the street, just remember, if you're not in the crosswalk, you're going to get run over. Now, what is the meaning of that story? It simply is this. If you are not prepared to walk across in a parking lot of life, knowing that there are people out there that, well, they have certain ideology towards when, where, and how to rent an apartment, and you want to become an apartment manager, you can't jaywalk in this business. You got to follow that with the policy of the world under your arm, with no attitude, completely brain dead, and you learn this word, no. No. 2 no's usually means that you've struck out with a property manager. You also have to learn how to slam doors, and we'll go into that in the next show also. So, get an opportunity. Don't miss us, by the way. Old Man Ranting from the Kitchen will be back on Facebook shortly after the first of the year. And, of course, here we are on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and possibly on your favorite podcast platform. Look for the smiling old man waving at you. That'll be me. And we hope that you have a great, great Christmas and New Year's, by the way. We're going to have a great one. I just finished painting the sled and burning out part of the rear end of the sled with a torch. So I got to raise it up now, put it up on the roof there. And we got some antler ear, wonderful ears for antler and some horns and a couple of packages and stuff of that nature, because we're going to explain to the people here at this particular wonderful community that, well, kids, the grumpy elf got mad at Santa and crashed his sleigh. Have a great New Year's and a great Christmas, and maybe we can put America back together again.